What's up?
No, come on, Frank. It's good stuff, man. Like you're dropping all this good content. I'm like, well, we should just be live. You should be saying all this stuff live.
Oh, let me pop this out. How do I pop this out? Okay.
What's going on, everybody? Happy
Pop out.
Tuesday morning.
Oh, we're on right now? Okay.
Dude, you were spitting gold. I'm like,
Man,
why
I
am I
got
on the
so much
starting screen when
gold.
you're spitting fire, man? How are you this morning?
I'm good. I was up really late. Um, did some live poker and online poker. Won at online cash, won in live cash, and lost at tournament. I
I
only played
mean,
one game.
with the stakes you probably play, like you can probably if you have a good winning online and live cash session, losing a tournament's probably an okay.
No, yeah, it was a small tournament. Like first place was like 700.
See, Frank, they want to hear what you were talking about. Go back and talk about your mindset stuff. Man, I'm looking
Who wants
old.
to hear? Is there anybody here?
Yeah, there's people in chat.
Oh, okay. Um, where do you want me to start over? I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
just go. Like talk about it. Like talk about what you were talking about as far as like mindset and
well, one thing that, oh my gosh, I mean, it's like I forgot this and it just like hit me so hard yesterday. Not yesterday, but Sunday. And I don't know if anybody here watches football. I used to be big on NFL and I'm not anymore. I don't really watch football because I'm so eat up with poker, I guess. But I watched the NFC Championship game and the Bucks won, Brady won, and a lot of people were just, talking crap about him and all this stuff, which is fine if you're ever going to be doing something like legendary or special or win. All winners are going to get shit talked about them. So,
yeah.
so here's the thing: like all these people are thinking, well, he didn't do this or do that or whatever. And the thing about Brady, so he has plenty of money. All right. Because somebody brought this up. Well, Mahomes is going to make more money than Tom Brady just from his one contract. And I'm thinking, Brady doesn't care. His wife makes more money than him or used to, you know? So he's not playing for the money.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's not playing for the money. He's playing because he loves the game and he wants to be a legend. And so this made me think about when I can remember, I'm not a big tournament player, never have been, but I was living in Florida playing cash games down there back when it first opened up about 10 years ago. And I entered a WPT like high-low Omaha event
Yeah.
and I won the tournament. And they had a huge trophy. Okay. And the guy that got second wanted to give me an extra 500 or $1,000 just so he could say that he won the tournament and he can get his picture in the magazine and he could take the trophy home and show it to his family and stuff like that. I was like, what he didn't know is I was going to leave the trophy there, just like I had left the trophy somewhere else in I think Daytona. I'd won a tournament and I just left the trophy there. I don't care. At that point, I didn't care about the trophy. I cared about the money,
Right.
right? And now, yes, the money is important because I have a lot of bills and whatnot. And I would love to build a huge bankroll. And I would love, that I want us to play high stakes tournaments, which we're not doing right now. But that's one of the goals. But here's the thing is that if we just play for the money, if I'm just playing for the money, money is one of the easiest things you can get in this world. Everybody I know makes money doing something. You can go get a job and make money making $20 an hour. there are people that can't make $20 an hour playing poker. But I was just thinking Tom Brady is not doing this for the money. He's not doing this to get a big contract. He loves the game. He loves to play football. I love to play poker.
Yeah.
I love the mental aspect of it, which I will never master as hard as I try. And I'm trying,
Hmm.
like, every day. I'm trying. I realize, man, I realize that, like, I want to play optimal poker, right? And you would think, okay, optimal poker means more money. Yes, but I love the game. Just
Right.
like like I don't have, I mean, I have a vision for what I want my life to be like, kind of, but my goal, I really don't have, and this might be a bad thing. I don't know. I really don't have like a monetary goal. Um, my goal is every day is what I do every day. And that might sound stupid or hard to pick up on. And I've said it multiple times, and because I can't say it enough. My goal is that I waking up this morning, although I went to bed at like 4:30 or something, but waking up early this morning and be able to get on here with you and talk about poker, and then later today playing poker. And I mean, I'm doing what I love to do. I'm making money playing poker. It doesn't matter to me how much money I make. I mean, all my bills are paid. My wife can do whatever crap she wants to do. I'm wearing a I'm wearing a t-shirt with a hole in it, and she's like, your t-shirt's got a hole in the sleeve.
Frank's like, I don't care. I'm a poker player.
I don't care. I mean, she buys all my clothes. It's her fault anyway. Man, there are clothes. She's like, you have clothes in the closet that have tags on them. Yeah, but I want to wear my Beast Mode shirt today, so because I'm trying to be a beast, and that's not even. I don't even know what I was saying earlier that you said was gold. The stuff I just said is probably not gold, but the other stuff I was saying was probably gold, and I don't even remember what it
I
was.
know
You wanted me
I
to,
should have just like gone live and not said anything to you.
you wanted me to be, I would
Chopwood
be
Carry
like,
Water, How to Fall in Love with the Process of Being Great is an amazing book. Yeah, I haven't read that book, but I agree with that premise. Is just look, I mean, you love the game, good things will happen, and people that love the game just keep working. They just keep working. It's like going back to what Abe Styles said yesterday about 20% ROI players can lose over a 5,000 game sample size. It's like it's mathematically possible, and this game, man, the variance can be something else, and you just have to commit to continuing to get better and just continue to pick yourself up. What's up, Poker Dad? Good to see you. And yeah, man, I'm in one of those ruts right now. We're just making deep runs, making good decisions, getting better, but the results haven't come yet. But they will. They will. They always do. There's a little lag time between hard work and results. And that's why we're here, man. That's why we're here to dig in. So Frank, this is the 3K guaranteed on ACR. I'm about 2/3 the way through the tournament. I figured I'd kind of take you to the short stack spot again, and we could talk through some short stacked play. During like heading into the session, I've been starting to set session goals for myself, so that when I get to the end of a session and my hands didn't hold up for the 47th time, and I broke even for the 47th time, and then
at
I can
least
look
you
back
played
and
well.
yeah, like I look back and be like, well, I made this adjustment and it worked, and I made this adjustment. And so like heading into this session, my adjustments were to make thin value bets in the river. And just like there's no reason not to make thin value bets in the river. To check raise at a proper frequency, which is about 15%, and just really working on my late position opens and making sure I was being loose aggressive with those. So, and I felt
Oh,
like I did
before
pretty
you
good.
go, hey, before you go with this hand, I just want to say one thing. So I was showing one hand that we were going over that you and I had questions about, and I showed it to a friend of mine who's a tournament pro, and he said, well, and he's looking at the hand and talking about my decision and all this other junk, and then he wanted to know how much the tournament was. like what the payouts were. And that should not matter. Like if if anybody in here watching this right now, if you're playing a $1 entry fee tournament, or you're playing a $1,000 entry fee tournament, or you're playing a $10,000 entry fee tournament, we got to make the right decision, and the decisions matter, whether the first place is $600 or $60,000. Because if you're making the right decisions at a $600 first place tournament, then you're going to make the right decisions at a $60,000 first place tournament. I just wanted to interject that in there because I thought that was kind of weird coming from my friend, because he's a really good poker player, and he's very bad with money. I will say that. I don't want to say anything about him. I don't want to say anything about him, but he's a very good poker player. And for him to ask that, I said, well, that's not the thing. I mean, it was an ICM spot or something. But and another thing that people come at me with all the time, I mean, almost a daily thing, is they think it would be something would be different if we were playing, 5-10 no limit instead of 1-3 no limit, or 10 and a quarter no limit instead of 2-5 no limit. And what they don't understand is that if you're it's all it is just bigger chips. Like I used to play 20-40, and it was limit, and this was back in the 2000s or whatever, and people would be like, oh, you wouldn't do that in 4A, or you wouldn't do that in 20-40, whatever. 20-40 is 4A with red chips.
Hmm.
And 5-10 is 1-2 with red chips. 5-10 no limit is 1-2 no limit with red chips. And if anybody tells you any different, I'm here to tell you that they're wrong. So, anyways, all right, I'll get off my soapbox. But like, I just want no. But the thing is like, if somebody is trying to belittle you, or belittle me, or belittle anyone in this chat for trying to make the right play in a $10 tournament,
Yeah.
you can tell them to go back to work at the factory or whatever. I don't know. But
Right.
go ahead.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. And again, it just comes back to being process oriented. Um Blind versus blind here. Jack 7 offsuit. We can look this spot up. I'm honestly like exploitatively fine with limping or raising here. What do you do when you're limp 2 in the big blind, Frank? What's your big blind facing a limp strategy look like?
I am big on the chip stack thing and where we are in the tournament. So if we're close to the bubble, I'm more apt to be super aggro with any two cards.
Let's see.
If
Oh, I'm
we're-
in the wrong one. I'll be honest. I have spent almost no time in Range Trainer Pro on blind versus blind. It's not because I'm lazy. It's just because I've had so many friggin' other spots to study. I just haven't gotten here yet.
I play a lot of blind versus blind in online
Yeah.
cash. It happens a lot. In tournaments, I made a ginormous mistake last night. Um, we were on the bubble. Actually, we were 5 spots away from the money, and the small blind limped. And I don't even want to tell you guys this, but I was a huge chip. I was the chip leader in the tournament, and I shoved all in.
What in the hell is this?
I don't know. Let's see.
All right, so this is hilarious. I'm posting this on Twitter.
It says
I,
you should shove.
this is absolutely freaking hilarious. Eight
Okay,
deuce offsuit. Eight deuce offsuit is a
I don't feel
45.
so bad. I don't feel so bad right now after what I did last night. I'm
What in
so
the
glad you
bloody
told me
hell
so.
is this? Why is eight deuce offsuit? Oh, this is wild.
this is similar to what I did last night, and I got called, and
What? This is 20 big blinds effective. I'm like legit trying to wrap my head around this. Like, I kind of want to post this on Twitter as a poll because this is one of those really interesting things that can generate some contact. But I'm afraid I'm going to post this and then like it's going to end up being an error. Like, I don't
I feel like
understand
a
this at
genius.
all.
I feel like a genius right now. That's all I'm going to say. Just gonna
Why
say
in the
that. Like
hell
a
is
genius.
8 deuce off?
I feel like a genius. I was going to say I was embarrassed about what I did last night, but now I feel like a genius. Thank you, Range Trainer Pro, for helping me out here.
I before I post this, I'm gonna message High Hands.
I hope it's right because it makes me look like I did something good. Tell. See, I don't know. I don't know. KL, is that his name? I don't know him
Yeah.
personally, but right now I'm loving him because I was about to tell you how bad I played last
Well,
night, but
so all right, so
this
like
is
looking at this
exactly what I
chart,
did.
like a lot of this makes sense. Like we're raising all of our suited hands here. This is just pure equity raise, right? Or sorry, calling. I need to change these colors. I'm playing with these colors to try and find like the sweet spot. So we're calling all of these suited hands. We're raising linearly here. We're jamming all the hands where we just want to realize equity, right? Like our weaker offsuit aces and our pocket pairs. I don't know what the hell this is. This is wild to me.
It's pretty funny.
Like this has to be some kind of weird balancing mechanism, but I don't get it.
It's like
I don't get it.
5% call.
Yeah,
40,
like 45% jam, 20 big jam with
45%
8 deuce
jam,
off.
45% raise.
Why? I don't get it. Like that's like literally like the second worst hand you could have. I don't know. We'll have to look into that. But a lot of these offsuits are going to be partial opens, partial flats, which means you can randomize it or you can do it based on your opponent. Like you can use a mixed strategy based on what opponent you face. I elect to use a 2/3 sizing here on the flop. This is a decently-ish dynamic board. We have a pair plus a gut shot. And we can just fold out a lot of like weak draws and overs that we don't want to give equity to. Villain decides to call. Turn is a queen. And this is an interesting card because like in limped pots, yes, everybody has Queen X. Nobody really has range advantage on this Queen X. But we know hands like King Queen and Ace Queen and Queen Jack, like a lot of those hands would have raised pre. So a lot of the
Right.
coordinated queens aren't really in his range. And I feel like in spots like this, even though like we don't have range advantage, a lot of these opponents don't realize that, right? A lot of opponents just look at the card and it's an over to the board and
Right. He's like, I got a 9, got a
yeah,
10.
like it adds that extra pressure. So like this is 100% another barrel for me. Not only did we pick up equity with the open ender, but I feel like this is kind of a scare card. And I've been doing this a lot. Ever since Ryan told me that I could go big on the flop and size down on the turn, I've been doing this a metric ton. And what's hilarious is this doesn't like to some opponents when you go like 2/3 pot, 1.9 bigs, and then you go 1/3 pot, 2.2 bigs, it looks like you're upsizing. It's like, oh, well, he bet 1.9 on the flop. Now he's betting 2.2 on the turn. Like they're not factoring in that the pot's bigger. This move has been gold for me the last month because I used to never do it because I thought it looked so weak. Nobody pays attention. Nobody pays attention. He calls River is a queen. What are you doing here? Are you tripling?
Going all in.
I honestly don't know what I did here. I might have given up.
I mean, if they check it to me, I'm all in.
Yeah, I gave up and he had the Jack 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fun. I've been way tighter on my peels. Okay, oh good. Opening the
Oh
ace
yeah, yeah.
deuce. That's good. 6-3
How many
fold.
how many blinds do you have right there?
We've got 60, but
Oh,
most of the field, like you see 12, 14, 20. So we're like
right.
25 to 30 effective here. Easy defend here. And we flop top pair and a gut
Check.
shot. Now Ryan's been big on like 9 high or higher, like going for the check raise. I always hate when I go for the check raise and they check behind. Because now you just know, and now you just know the overcard's coming, right? Like the king is just gonna spike and you're just gonna throw up. But this time it did not. We flopped the double gutter. I think we've got a pretty clear lead here. More of a equity denial than a value bet because like they just checked behind off of 12 bigs. They probably don't have much here.
No, this is value right here.
But what are we gonna get
It's
value
both,
from?
okay, it's both. It's both equity denial and value. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean it's both, but I'm just like he's just gonna have a lot of broadways here that we don't want to catch up because if they catch up, they're ahead. And there's 5 big blinds on the pot right now, so like taking this down isn't terrible. He calls, and here's the vomit river. Like against really weak opponents, we could put
We've
like a
got
3 big blind blocker bet out.
we've got a bluff catcher, I think. I mean,
That's what I did. So yeah, we do have a bluff catcher. It's just gonna really depend on the opponent. Like this guy's 23-12-1. He's got a 1% 3-bet. Interesting cat. Well, check. Oh, check call. I thought this said check raise for a second. Yeah, we definitely could. Like, I think that. I
let me
think
tell you
that.
why. Let me tell you why I check. Because we bet and we fold out any hand that we got beat, right? If we check it to them, we give them a chance to bluff us because in my mind, the 8.8 bigs is if we lose that, we're still fine. But if we win it, then we win that whole. Then that's just more value added to our stack. Am I making sense right now?
Yeah, my only fear is I'm not
I,
sure
I think
he's.
I think they bluff if we check it. That's all I'm
But see,
saying.
like random player, yes. Like based on this guy's stats, this guy's a 75% fold to 3-bet, and he's only bet the river 10% of the time. Now it's a smaller sample size of 176. I just don't know what that he has bluffs here. I feel like he's gonna check back.
Okay, so that's really possibly a huge leak in my game. Like Friday night playing cash, I checked a monster to 3 of the most aggressive players that I've played with in a while, and they all checked. I missed out on so much value, and they would have called. I missed out on so much value just by checking. And what I did is I gave them a free river, and I was so mad at myself because then the river comes down, I bet, and they all fold, and I just missed out like on an extra $150.
Yeah, I think it
Anyway,
just comes down to your read
that's
on the
my
player.
theory.
Like if like you guys are like if this guy has bluffs here in the river, then this is a good bluff catcher for sure. If he doesn't have bluffs in the river, then anytime he bets river, we're just beat. And so that's like in the moment, like that's kind of where I elected to go for the blocker bet because I just like his stats looked really tight passive. And maybe I'm just giving 176 hands too much credit here. But this guy looked very fit or fold.
Okay, so you bet, yeah. See, that's
But yeah, there's definitely going to be player. Yeah, I'm 100% bet folding. Yeah, that was the plan. Is like if he jammed, I'm snap folding.
right.
And
You're
I think
snap
those are
folding,
the two
but
moves. It's either blocker bet fold or check call. I think those are our only two options. And there are definitely players at all stakes who would sit here with like Jack 10, right? And they miss, and they're like, the only way I can win is to rip, and they'll definitely rip river. Busted flush draws will rip river. Like there's definitely tons of bluffs here. It's just a matter of whether you think your opponent in game is capable of them or not. And I I just made a gut call. I mean, in terms of like sizing here, like I don't want to go. I don't know.
I
I
like
don't
it.
want to go so small to induce. Like I don't want to go like
I like it.
1.5 bigs here and just make it look like we're like getting screwy. I want this to look like a thin value bet and kind of look uncomfortable. It also is kind of right on that threshold of him thinking he doesn't have fold equity.
There is a bet size on ACR that it looks like that's what you hit. It looks like you hit 1/4 pot. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Let me get. Hold on. I gotta get JoJo. He's trying to get in.
Yep, you're good. They don't think, but they still have instincts, right? Like there's still like a non-thinking player still has reactions, good or bad, right or wrong, to situations and thresholds. And so
It really just depends on. I think you probably made the right read with that player just from looking at the stats. I mean,
I wouldn't talk anybody out of either of the options. And going really thin here, like if you're gonna go 1.5, that's fine too. But I think if you go 1.5, you have to call. Because you're kind of inducing at that point. So I don't like 1.5 fold. I'm fine with 1.5 call.
it's a three. I like this. I like the quarter pot bet.
This is a $3 3K. This is a tournament that like we had a very long day, a ton of deep runs, hadn't gotten through, and this was the last tournament of the day. And I tried to play it like it was, for $1 million. The old we're gonna put our heart in, even though it's only a couple $100 up top, and try and win it.
I love it. I love it.
So yeah, interesting spot. Definitely a couple options there to consider. Pretty straightforward BVB spot here.
It's very respectable, like and inspiring that you would play a $3 tournament like it was, a millionaire maker or something.
Well, I mean, I'm not doing it joyfully. this is like I need to do this. It's not like it's like taking your multivitamin or doing a workout. It's not something I look forward to, but pretty straightforward c-bet here with the gutter ball. We have the range advantage with the ace. He just takes it down. Good open here with the 7-9. We get ripped.
Whoa, what? Oh, it was a jam.
24 bigs, yeah. Okay, walks are nice. Don't get those very often.
Looks like you're having your card dead.
This is a raise. A miss spot. Some of these suited kings I get a little weirded on. Like it's any suited king from the button. I think it's king 3 from the cutoff and king 5 from that. I might have honestly folded this because you know why I think I folded this.
You guys folded. I can look. I can see.
Do you see who's on my left?
Fishing Lake has like 9.7 bigs.
Yeah, I had Fishing Lake on my left with 9 bigs. That's why I folded it.
Right. And then the big blind only has 13 bigs.
I'm not so worried about the big blind. Like we can still open into short stacks like that. Like we can't get you complete. But Fish terrified me. I know how aggressive Fish is. Yeah. So this was Fishing Lake being on my left here. Yeah. King 5 it's in the range. Let me pull it up.
I raise it just. I mean,
and even if it was on the fringe, like
you look how many times you raise right there, and the blinds just fold or call and fold to bet.
Yeah,
on the
king
flop.
4, king 5, king 5. Like it's basically king 5 is the shelf.
King 5 suited.
Yeah.
Was king 5 off on there?
No, God, no.
Okay,
It's
I was looking, and king 10 is the bottom of the range.
So now we get aces, and I'm licking my lips because Fish is on my left. I'm like, shove on me. He doesn't.
So do we check back here, or do we bet? I'm always, listen, I am always the guy that wants to get 3 streets of value or 4
So
streets of value if you go and I had this discussion with someone the other day that um, GTO says you check back this hand right here for the
it's
session.
gonna be very opponent dependent, and obviously it's flop dependent too. Like this flop is pretty coordinated. Um,
Mhm.
the downside to betting here is we don't allow king queen, king jack, queen 10, queen 9, 10 9. We don't allow those hands to catch up, and they're just gonna fold out. The downside to checking here is hands like 6 7, 7 8, 7 9, ace 4, ace deuce all get like a free equity run. They get they get a chance to just destroy you on the turn. Um so I lean towards betting in this spot. Um if this was like a 9, let's see. I'm trying to think of like what a good board would be to check back here.
This isn't really a bad board
Maybe
to check back
like a
for, right?
9-5 deuce, maybe. Um,
Yeah, you don't see a lot of those flops though.
like it's hard because this is a big blind range, defending range. So he's gonna like even though like he's got some hands here that have like no coordination with this board, he's got some hands that have a lot of coordination with this board. So I think we just have to go for value here a large percentage of the time. I did elect to check back though. Very interesting.
I like to check back, and
He
now
leads.
they're gonna stab at the turn, and you just smooth call, and then
Yeah, and now the problem is like getting paid off here just sucks. We go quarter pot,
I
we get called. He has nines.
yeah, I I like raising the turn, but we might not
Yeah,
have got
raising the turn
we
wouldn't be
might not have
terrible
got
either.
we might not have got the river bet.
I actually think I really like raising the turn because there's so many draws that we can get value from. I think you're right.
There's so many. I really believe a lot of we get okay. The high card hands we get value from the flush draws, straight
The only thing
draws.
that sucks is if we raise and he jams, we're in a really awkward spot. Um,
Okay, so he's betting. Yeah.
like because with this player type, that doesn't mean we shouldn't raise. I'm just
Okay,
contemplating like if I raise here to like 9 bigs and he shoves, I
I
have to think
call.
about folding.
I call. What's he raising with? I mean, what's he bet rate? If he's got like a big hand and he bets and gets raised. If he's got like a set or if she's got a set of tens and they bet right there and then we raise, they're not gonna shove. They're just gonna smooth call to try
At
and
these
like,
stakes, you're going to find a lot of them shoving. They're going to shove all of their
um,
2-pair combos, all of their straights, all of their sets because they're just like, I have a good hand. We're all in. Like I honestly think like if and especially with this guy's stat, like the other problem is this guy is super tight. 16% VPIP, only 9% PFR, 2% 3-bet. Um, very tight.
but
So
yet,
like,
but yet they paid us off on the river with the ace
well,
seven.
I mean,
Like
it
there
was
were
a 3 big blind bet, and remember I mean, yeah,
oh they bet. Okay, we didn't raise on the river. I thought we raised. Okay.
yeah. If we had checked, and that's the other thing, if we had bet flop, he probably raises with his nines, and we get it in on the flop. But like
Yeah.
you can go both ways with it. Like he could have had like Jack 10 here, and by checking back, we got like that's the hard part is just like his range is so wide, even being a tight player in the big blind, that like you can kind of play both sides of the argument depending on what his hand was and be results oriented. I'm not really sure in a vacuum. We can get max value on the flop where turn shuts him down. Yeah, it just depends on which part of his range he's in. I agree though, like knowing if he could check raise definitely would help. Playing against big blind defenses is hard, not because we don't have an advantage, but again, because just their range is so wide and
Right.
uncondensed that
Well, maybe not uncapped, but
Some
Oh,
players it's uncapped, most players it's not. But just it's the fact that it's not condensed forces us to make like
not in this
tough
range, you're right.
decisions about what part of his range we're trying to attack.
Right.
And if anything, maybe that advocates for a lot of really small C bets on flop, just to try and start to condense his range as we go street by street. Because when you have a really uncondensed range and you check flops, you just allow that range to stay uncondensed, and it just doesn't help you narrow down where your opponent is. I'm not a big fan of like betting to see where you're at. I think that's kind of horse crap, but like there is
Oh,
some
are you
merit.
talking to me now? That sounds like me talking. Listen,
There
kid,
is
listen,
some
I'm
merit
not
to being able
talking.
to condense your opponent's range over streets and not getting to the river against a completely uncondensed range.
Hold
So
on, I gotta write something down. Let me write something down.
yep.
Hold on. Wearing off on Rob right
Oh
here. Okay,
geez, listen to
wrote
this
that
guy.
down. Wrote it down.
Who
Wearing
has a
off.
notepad in 2021?
Okay, here's the funny part. At, at your desk when you're streaming and playing right there, you've got like video games and stuff, and you got your little figures back there and whatnot. Here we work. We work, don't we? Come here, Roxy.
Tag this hand.
See, Roxy, we work, don't we, baby? We sure do. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. Gotta go back to work. We work. We need to write some stuff down. All right.
I tagged it, Poker Dad. Yeah, I can send that one in tomorrow. So this is another interesting spot against this guy. We opened King Queen off. I don't. So in my head, there is, and I can't even describe it well. But there are situations I get into where I'm like, I have some equity, but it's not enough equity for me to want to bet. But it's enough equity where I want to see another turn card to see if that equity improves. And this feels
Oh,
like one of those spots where like we can turn so many good cards for us.
you're gonna make me. You're gonna make. What did Alexander Fitzgerald say? Blood's gonna shoot out of my nose. If
But
you check this right here, blood is gonna shoot out of my nose.
here's the thing, I don't want to get check raised off of this.
Hold on. You are printing money anytime you raise and the big blind calls and they check it to you and you bet it. Like it's just printing money, especially like look at their 16-9-3.
I'm fine betting here if we're 100% calling a raise. There's no way I want us bet folding. Like if we're
Well, the
bet
reason
folding,
we're
I'd rather
betting,
check.
well, here is the reason we're betting this, okay? And I'm okay. The reason I'm betting is because it's a ginormously profitable play. It's a print money play. I promise you, if you could go back and look at every spot where you raised and got called and you were in position and checked to and you bet, it's like some ginormous percentage. Like they fold something crazy. I wish I could look that stat up. It's like 89% or something crazy. It's really high.
So you're 100% calling a raise here?
Oh yeah. What are
Okay,
you
then
talking
I'm
about?
fine with it. If you're calling a raise, I'm fine with it. I just
Yeah, I mean, we've got a draw to the nuts and a backdoor draw to the nuts.
right.
Got two overs. I mean, they're check raising any jack, any.
They
They
have a
can check
ton of
raise.
check rate. Well, okay. If they're playing properly, they have a ton of check raises here. Like a massive amount of check raises. Um
They they have their check raises are spades. Their check raises are seven and jack in those combinations and two pair combinations.
yeah, all their
Uh,
value hands.
they're probably
Six
not going to
seven
check
has to
raise.
raise. Jack
They,
seven might raise. Um
I'm
nine
still
seven,
betting it.
10 7, 9 jack, jack eight, all
I'm
of those
still
like
betting.
pair
Okay,
plus.
so what happens if we check here and then a three of hearts rolls off on the turn and they bet
But
into
so if we
it?
check here and a three of hearts rolls off on the turn, we get more information. Because if a three of hearts rolls off on a turn and our opponent checks again, now we know they're really weak. like insanely weak.
We bet and take it down. But
And
if
we
we
just
would
bet
have
and
bet
take it down.
if we would bet the flop and then and they call, and then the three hearts rolls off on the turn, then they check and we bet. We just won a bigger pot.
You're betting a brick on the turn?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I? I just bet the flop. I'm betting the turn.
Because if you bet the flop and get called and nothing changes on the turn, what are you expecting him to fold? If he's not folding flop, why would he fold turn?
I don't care if he folds turn. I'm still betting.
I love your aggression.
I mean, what? So there's the brick.
Yeah, so we checked. We didn't bet. I get it. I'm fine with the betting as long as we're calling. We can't bet fold.
The thing about it is, whether we're calling or not, man. I mean, I you should probably check this with Ryan because he's the tournament guru. But like, if somebody checks to me, if and I'm in position and I raised at pre-flop, I'm betting in position. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not using any kind of GTO or nothing. I'm 100% doing it.
What's up, Clever?
I'm 100% c betting in that position. When you are in when you're in position against a pre-flop caller on the flop, I'm betting it when they check it to me.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Now I play every day, cash games online. A lot of times I do get called. People do call and they want to float.
So Poker Dan
And then I get
says
the turn and they fold.
Pile folds a check raise without the flush card, so here because with the queen of spades. Yeah. Like it just like because if we're comparing the two options straight up, right?
Mhm.
If you are betting this flop and folding to a raise when they have so many check raises, there's no reason to bet, right? Um, like we should just insta check and realize equity. Because we don't want to get locked out of that equity. If we can call the raise, it's totally fine. And it makes sense. Yeah, like the queen of spades matters a lot. Because like that backdoor flush draw has decent equity for us. Like it's not just the whatever the 1.6% or whatever equity of the backdoor flush draw in of itself. It's just the number of turn cards we're gonna get to continue on. Like when this is a four of spades, like if he check raises this, we call, and this is a four of spades, we can continue to peel against future streets of aggression. Um, so I think in my head, I was worried about check raises, and I had decided maybe prematurely that I didn't want to call a check raise, and so I elected to check behind. But I can totally get behind betting and calling a check raise here. Once we get to this
Actually,
point,
what I'm telling you also comes from Ape Styles, and I know you like Ape Styles.
sure.
That's coming from him. He is 100% in that spot, 100% see better.
I wouldn't
Um,
say nothing is folding to a c bet here. Like he can have hands like ragged
ace three
aces, like
off,
ace
ace
eight,
three
three, ace four,
off.
ace five. He can have like maybe he's got hands like king four suited, king five suited, queen four suited. Nah, queen wouldn't. Yeah, it's not a lot.
Anytime,
It's not a lot. It's gonna be
oh,
probably less than
any,
20% of his range.
anytime you can count a whole bunch of hands that are going to fold to you, I would bet. I mean, yes, we can count hands that have equity against us and that can call us, but we can count a lot of hands that don't.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. I'm just trying to learn too. I'm trying to get better.
and
Um,
we go check on the river. Like, yeah,
I mean, yeah, it turned out that they've got Jack Nine of clubs, and they actually played it really bad. Uh,
yeah. He should have raised our turn. So it's interesting because he didn't raise turn here. I have to believe that he wouldn't have raised flop. He would have just smooth called. Um, because he should be raising here. Like, this is egregious.
so if we get called, on the flop from the C bet, do we check the turn?
I am. Yeah, I 100% am. And it's the same thing. I want to realize equity. Like I can hit a jack, a queen, or a king. I don't want to be bet off that equity. It's a free roll at that point. And I just don't think that this four of clubs is changing anything. So whatever he's calling with on the flop has no incentive to fold turn unless we just go huge. So if you're betting this turn, like this needs to be like an over bet. Like I would go like
Or
seven
maybe
here.
if we check the turn, then we overbet the river.
I don't like. I mean, you
Is that
could, I
is
guess.
that a good
Like
line?
at these stakes, I don't like that because these guys just don't. They don't. They're not thinking players, so they're not like.
Right.
It's like speaking in a
I
different
think
language to
Elrond
them.
was bet the 8 on that flop, and
Yeah.
now he's hit 8. Mm. Oh,
This should definitely be a C bet. This is a miss C bet for sure. Now,
you
Demon's
think
Steam
so?
is a reg, is a winning reg, so that might have factored in a little bit. But even like at theory, paired boards are going to have a very high frequency bet.
Right.
Because it's just such a dry board here. Yeah, in theory, an overbet would be good. You do that a lot at the low stakes, though, you're gonna get destroyed because people just don't fold. Um, and then I'm hoping I elect to check raise here.
Mhm.
I just check called. I don't like that. Yeah, that's too
Yeah.
passive.
Yeah, because when you check call, you're just see you could have folded that guy out, but
Yeah,
that's pretty much
should have
the way
check raised that.
check raise is such a strong play right there.
Yeah, and if we're not check raising our flush draws and our straight draws, what the hell are we check raising for bluffs?
Check raise is my favorite. That's my favorite thing to do in pot limit
I'm gonna
Omaha.
look this spot up. And this is kind of weird because we have a 20 big blind stack and a 40 big blind stack. Um,
This is something I need to work on. I'm so
cut
glad you're
off
looking it
hijack.
up because
Small blind. I feel like this is gonna be a fold, but
I feel like I overfold that spot.
oh god, this is hella tight. Is it this tight? Wait a minute. Was it? Did I cut off and hijack? Damn. I did not expect. Oh, okay. Well, so we're 25. Let me scroll through here. At 30. No, this is crazy tight. All right. So here's what's going on here. In the button where we have position, like
Mhm.
this calling range is really loose. In the small blind, it's really tight because we have no position.
Okay, so I'm not overfold.
Um,
All right, so that feels
actually,
good.
what button is two? What? All right. What the hell's going on here? Is it just deep stacked? I need to spend more time in here.
I
What?
never call
Maybe I'm
there.
thinking of big blind. What am I? I'm trying to figure out what like. I know there's a place I've seen where
Well,
this
big
range is like,
blind,
oh, okay,
big
all right,
blind,
it's
yeah.
big blind. Big blind is hella wide. Um, all right, okay, so that makes sense. I was just like still waking up here, so we have to be really tight here. Um, really tight, and honestly, like a lot of squeezes. Like
Yeah, I mean that makes sense with the squeeze.
I might change this brown to yellow. I'm still trying to find colors that like clash enough that it's like really obvious. So I'm still doing it. So yeah, I think yeah, this is a clean fold. I didn't expect it to be that tight. Open the queen jack on the button, open the king jack,
No,
and we're facing a lead here.
you open limped.
No, I didn't. I don't
Okay,
think I did.
I thought you did.
Did I? Oh, I did. So I've been experimenting with this.
Mhm.
Um I've been experimenting with this. So you're gonna see some of this. Like this is so there's two reasons for this limp. One, I've got Dema Steam in the button. Very
Mhm.
aggressive rag. I also have a rejam stack in the big blind. Let me just look up cut off. Hold on a second.
Man, I'm glad you're looking this up.
I'm gonna try gold here. Um, first in cutoff. These are pure ranges. See, again, I'm not sure how to study this spot because yeah, that gold is terrible. That's not working. I'm not sure how to study the spot because he's 15 big blinds deep, right? So like if I go, it's kind of hard to see. I'll get this twinge. Like if I go 20 big blinds effective, all these offsuits can be 30, 40% partial calls. If I go down to 15, we actually have like an insane limping range here, right? And then like some of these hands just become pure rips. Now we're not ripping King Jack offsuit here because we're not 15 big blinds effective. We're 15 big blinds effective to the big blind, but we're 40 big blinds effective here. So I honestly don't know like how I'm supposed to mesh all this data and decide like theory wise what to limp. The reason I'm getting more of these limps in, and I'm not doing it like I don't want to do it a massive amount. I don't want to have like a 40% limping range from the button, but in a spot like this, occasionally you can mix this in and good rag over here on the button's going to go, what the hell is this? This guy limps 2% of hands, right? So he's a little leery. And now, like big blind, now we're in a spot where, like, if this guy jams or this guy raises, we're saving ourselves a big blind when we're not expecting to get our min raise through as often because of the setup. We can't do this every time, right? Like we have to be very careful and not over abuse this, but this is one way we can get a little bit. I'm starting to mix more of this in just to get a feel for what we can do. And it's just kind of how you.
Okay. Never mind.
So as played, yeah, he leads. I think we have two options, right? It's call or it's shove.
I call.
Those are really the two options at this point. So, let's see what we did. I honestly don't know. We just ripped.
Okay. I was about to say I call and then let him bluff it off on the turn.
Yeah. I don't mind that. You have more traps in your game than I do, I think. I am, but you also play a lot of tricky players.
Trust me,
and,
you play.
And here we go.
It doesn't matter what stake.
We open and
games. Everybody tries to be tricky.
Dima rips into us. Ace 10 suited open. We get two callers.
Oh, nice.
Go chunky here. We can get called by an ace or a king.
I like it.
We get peeled. What are you doing here on the turn?
I'm not stopping.
Oh, I agree. We're definitely not stopping. Stats or balances.
I mean, you said that something that I've changed. You said that I half pot bet too much.
Yes, you do. Half pot is like the worst bet in the game. I mean, I shouldn't say like, okay, people say it's the worst bet in the game and it's a little bit strong because there's some spots we're supposed to go like 40%, like close to 50%. It's not as bad as people make it out to be, but you're kind of in no man's land, right? Like you're not.
I would click. I would click half pot and then notch it down.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, I like this as a downside spot because he doesn't have a massive amount of draws here. But he also doesn't have a massive amount of hands that beat us. Like I don't expect him to show up with ace jack, ace queen, ace king. He doesn't have aces or kings. He can have fives, but that's like a really like there's what 6 combos of fives. And he's got flush draws. Maybe he's got some gutter balls here. And yeah, I do elect to size down. And
worst card in the deck for us.
And look, he's got ace jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of thin value bets on the river. I'm not sure that this is the place for it. So half pot action donk. The problem with half pot is you're in between no man's land. So like smaller bets, like if you're betting half pot to get people to fold, you don't need to bet that much. You can bet less to get them to fold.
Right.
And if you're betting to deny equity, you need to be betting more than half pot in order to really effectively deny equity. So when you're betting half, you're betting too much for folds and you're betting not enough for equity denial or for value. So it just doesn't it's not a very effective bet size. And I'm hoping I made a note. Yeah, I did. So like this is an important note to make. When you see a guy play ace jack this passively, like you got to make a note on this guy.
I change up. Whoa.
Yeah, that's
I,
a
I don't always raise
squeezeroni.
ace back there. Sometimes I just call there in the big blind just for ad deception, I guess.
So
Which
I
I
like
normally don't
this.
have to do, which I don't have to do in this in a
I
$3
love
game.
this limp. I don't care what theory says. I love this limp here. Um, I limp from the button more than from any other position because it's the same thing here. Like just uh, not only can this like get us to a flop for cheaper, but if like I see people sometimes, one of the ways that they'll respond to this is they'll 3x. They'll raise the 3
Mhm.
big blinds. And then it's 2 to call. And we can just see a flop. Fortunately, this guy decided to rip. But if he's going to rip here, like he rips if we open. So we just saved ourselves a big blind.
Right. Might have ripped because we limped.
I'm going to start a bomb pot because I have drank some coffee this morning and I need to use the restroom here in a minute. So I'm gonna
All
let you
right.
guys run that. We'll go a couple more hands here, and then I'll run that off, and then we'll take a mini break and let everybody
Cool.
jive, and then we'll come back, let dogs out or whatever. So here, yeah, again, aggro reg, just limping. This is the third time I've limped against him, and he hasn't done anything. Synced break. Oh, please check raise. Please check raise here. No, why am I check calling so much against this guy? This is another great check raise spot, right? Like, we can turn a 5, we can turn a 7, we can turn a 9, we can turn an 8, we can turn a 10. It's a paired board. He's stabbing. Like, we have a million reasons to check raise here, and I just call.
You're okay. That's what I'm.
Yeah,
That's
this is just
yeah.
yikes.
I don't understand that play at all. Um,
Love
I
it
would almost
myself.
rather just fold instead of calling on the flop.
Here we open the king
Oh wow!
5, get
And
piled
Dave,
on. Seeing you
where's
not
your
check raise.
time?
I didn't have it when I check raised you, Poker Dad. I had king 9 suited. I took a gamble on your sizing. It was kind of meta game. I felt like your sizing might have been like trying to rep big, and I just kind of took a gamble. I mean, I had a backdoor flush draw and overs, so it wasn't like a completely, but it wasn't a normal check raise spot.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, this is
I
a fun
okay.
table.
Can we go back?
Yeah,
Can we just go back to the Jack Nine offsuit hand?
yeah.
I'm gonna see what's going on here. Okay. I I fold. I don't open with that hand. Jack Nine suited. I do. Jack. I just want you to look it up.
This is bottom of range. I'm pretty sure. If it's not, it's only because of stack depth.
I just want to know if I'm making a mistake by
Because
folding.
the button shelf is 7 offsuit, the cutoff shelf is 8 offsuit, and I think the hijack shelf is 9 offsuit. It's close. I guess when we get shallower, it's just the king 9 off.
Yeah. Because I never. I mean, I always fold that, and I just wanted to see if I was because I was also folding king queen off
Yeah, don't do that.
under the gun, but you're
I
not
wonder
under
if
the
this
gun.
is a defend. Cutoff hijack 30
I
effective.
fold it.
This might be too loose.
I defend a lot, but I don't play that.
Button cutoff. Why don't I see hijack? I'm not in the right one. Oh. Big blind, 30 big
Good,
blinds
good.
versus hijack open. Yeah, this is a little too loose. 903 charts. Thanks, high hands. I have no life. I have nothing better to do. Peeling one and pay dirt on the river here. And we can't get paid off. Glad I peeled one there. This is another interesting one. This is 30
do
effective.
we raise there, right? Is that a raise spot or do we call it that? I'm trying to
I feel
remember.
like it's a mixed. Well, it's either a mixed strategy or sometimes that like ace 7 through ace 9 is a pure peel, and then like you get some of the raises in the, like the ace, like the hands that can make straights and
Yeah,
flushes.
I know we raise against cutoff. I was just wondering.
So wait, so button hijack, button cutoff hijack, MP2. We are small blind 20. We'll check 25 and 30 and kind of blend them. 25 versus MP2, yeah, pure peel. 30 versus MP2, pure peel. Yeah.
Okay,
Um.
that is some good information. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many times I'm in the small blind with like an ace suited like that, and
Yeah, we do get a lot of these rips like in the middling area here. Like a lot of it, like this is so sexy. This is just kind of little like hook.
of course queen 10 suited. I love it.
Yeah, I haven't mixed any of that. I was watching Ape Styles final table yesterday, and there were some 30 and 40 big blind shoves. It was just like, I know those. I've seen those. Um,
Do we bet this?
yeah. Just probe and take it down.
I love it. I love that. It's like free chips
Yeah,
to me.
opening here with the king
Oh,
10.
nice.
I kind of this is close. This is close.
What do you mean? You don't think you bet this here?
Well, this is really dry, right? Our 10 blocks some of the draws they can have. And 3 streets of value is a little bit unrealistic here.
I like your
Um,
lone Fred poker hat. I just now noticed that.
oh yeah, this came in the mail the other day. So like I like if we're gonna have some King X checkbacks, I feel like King 10, King Jack, King Queen are the ones that are the most likely candidates. I think we're betting Ace King all day. Um, I don't,
I like betting it because if we check it and then bet the turn, I feel like. But like you said, it's a $3 turn. I don't know. Ugh. I'm always in this little. What am
I
I
like
trying
what
to say?
Poker Dad's saying.
What's he
And I
saying?
was Poker Dad said versus Regs. I think we bet versus Rex. We check. Matt says check back trips. Let the big blind catch up. The hard part is I don't know how the big blind catches up.
I like betting because who bets there if you got trips? Like you want to be deceptive, but see, we fold them out.
I think I bet big because he was aggressive. I'm not really sure what I was trying to accomplish here.
I like betting, but I play against a lot of regs, so ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to get used to the fact that most of the people you're playing against at these on these sites, Frank, are really, really bad. That's why generally trying to bluff them or trying to bluff catch is a
Ooh, I
fruitless
want to see
endeavor.
a 7-9 suited hand. I would
I think
love to
this is
see.
appeal. I'm
I
pretty
love
sure
the
this one's
feel.
appeal. We'll look
I
it up.
love the feel. I want to see it. It's very entertaining.
Oh, and this is one of those weird ones where like he's 20 effective, but he's deeper. And again, I
No,
guess we're just supposed to average them.
no. That's why I want you to peel because um, Mendez has 61 bigs.
Hijack and EP. So let's just run through them. 25 hijack and EP. It's a partial. 30 hijack and EP. It's a partial. 40 hijack and EP. It's not. 50 it is again, a partial. So it's on the cusp.
Man, I would love to peel right
What's up,
here.
the Asian guy? Yeah, I'm like, especially seeing this 1% 3 bet.
Right. That's the first thing I saw because you got to look. you got to look to see what that big blind, you know, is going to do
Yeah,
because
like this is where live you kind of look out the corner of your eye and you start to reach for chips and you see if the guy's like pump faking for, he's like getting ready to like grab the pile of chips in his hand, right? Like you're just kind of looking just to make sure he's not. Yeah, this is close. Checks
I like the
around.
field. Oh my God.
Yeah, now what?
I I bet. I mean, I might be foolish for betting, but
No,
I mean, what
I
do
think
you
this is
do? I
I
mean, check
like
raise. Is this a check raise? I don't think they're. I
I don't think this is a check raise because
I
for
think
two
that
reasons. One,
we whiff it. We just whiff it. I think
well,
most of
we can't check raise against beta soy boy. Like that's just not an option.
right.
Because of the SPR. And so it's kind of awkward to check raise against Mig Mendez with beta still in the hand. Um I lean towards betting here. Like this is a good semi bluff, right? Like we can rep the tens, we block 10-9. We can like if these guys
Block
don't have a
and nine.
10.
We block Jack nine.
I think the only question is like if we bet here and we brick river, knowing that King Jack can call us, knowing Ace Jack can call us, Jack 9 can call us, all of these like we have to have a follow through on the river, don't we?
Right. We bet here. We brick river. We bet it. I mean, they're calling us. They didn't bet the queen on the flop.
So we do
You know
bet
what
it. I love the sizing. I think this is fine. Oh God. Oh, now here's the thing. I don't know that we have to go for this. Like, I don't know that we have to shove to get a fold. Why do you think we're never getting a fold?
I mean?
I'm not entirely sure this is a terrible card. Like, this makes 10x less likely, not more likely, right? Since we don't have a 10, this makes
Right.
10x less likely. And I think he bets queens on the flop. I actually think this is a
10x.
really good
10x.
card.
They don't have 10x.
Like
10x
in game here,
turn.
I would bet like 5 big blinds. I think 5 big blinds is the nut bet here. That's gonna get him. That's gonna get him to fold out
Maybe
all
a
of his.
little more. I say more. I'm leaning a little bit bigger.
But
I'm
like,
leaning
what do you?
right.
Okay, what's the minimum amount we need to get? We need to bet to get him to fold Ace Jack. That's what we're trying to get him to fold here is Ace Jack. Ace Jack and worse.
Right.
So what's the minimum we need to bet to do that? We don't need to shove. In
Right.
fact,
We
I
don't have
actually
to
think
shove.
shoving is really bad because I think that shoving looks like would we
They
ever
play
shove here
perfect.
with a 10?
They play perfect against us if we shove.
Yeah, I
But
actually think that shoving here is unnecessary.
because any full house they're calling a shove. And
Yeah,
then we
I
max
feel like 4 or 5 big blinds is somewhere between 4 and 7 is ideal. I have no idea what I did
That's
here. This is
hilarious.
4 days ago. I'm terrified that I check. I really like a bet. I hope I didn't shove, but I think 4 or 5 is the sweet spot. This feels a little too thin. I would have liked to see a little bit. I'm glad I went for it. I would have liked to see a little bit bigger,
Ace high calls you.
but it works.
Oh, you get the fold. So I guess we just found out what the minimum was.
Well, he could have had 8-7 of clubs and it would have folded to 2 big blinds or 1 big blind. I like the thought process. I think we should go a little bit bigger. What size would you bet your full houses here? Yeah, I mean, that's a good thought process to have, but again, like to a random recreational player that we're up against, I don't think that they're like so much. I don't think their awareness gets to the point of like this is what he bets with a full house. I think they're just awareness. It's not on that level, but they do have a little bit of a whatever you want to call it, an internal meter that goes, why is he shoving here? Like they're just they get skeptical of shoves, which is one of the reasons we can overshove for value sometimes because people get stubborn. But I don't know that I don't know if they're thinking on the level of like, oh, 6 big blinds is what he would shove with a full house. Like, I don't think that they get to that point a lot of the time.
I had king high here.
But yeah, it is a good guide. And as you move up in stakes, it's going to be quintessential to have that as a part of your thought process.
I had king high here, I
All
would
right,
call you.
let's run this bomb pot real quick. Take a quick bathroom break. We'll be right back.
Cool. Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bomb Pots. In a moment, we're going to choose 8 lucky contestants. Each will get dealt 2 whole cards. We'll deal all 5 cards to the board one at a time, and whichever one of you has the best hand at the end will be the winner. So good luck to everybody, and don't worry, if you didn't get selected, there's always next time. All right, let's choose our contestants. All right, everyone, let's shuffle up and deal. Okay, let's take a look at the first card. And now let's turn over the second card. Let's complete the flop. It's time for the turn card. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. It all comes down to this. Win or lose, the river card will determine all. Flip over the river card. Okay, that is it for our bomb pot. Thank you so much for participating. Congratulations to the winner. If you didn't win this time, remember there will be more chances, so stick around the stream. You never know when another bomb pot is going to drop. But that's it for me. We're signing out. We'll be back from the break in just a bit and back to the poker action.
All right, quick night 2, picking up a couple bronze tickets. The more tickets you win in bomb pots on our stream, the bigger your prize will be if you win either of our home games. Super Bowl weekend here in 2 weeks. Frank is back. He's got the goat. All right.
All right, Jojo.
All right, we already saw that hand. What are we doing here, Rob? Why are we folding here? Is it because of Dima and the big blind is just scaring us?
What happened? You folded what? Queen eight?
Yeah. I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. This might be me just being too scared of might be being too scared of Dima here, because this is in range.
Well, okay, so it just I don't mind it being a fold, but the thing about it is you might just didn't have it ingrained. I mean, you don't have all these ranges ingrained in your brain. Plus, there was probably some other stuff going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm not like letting these guys affect my play too much. Because I'm gonna run into them more and more as I move up in stakes, and I can't be afraid to make flats or 3-bets here in this spot.
Well, at this point, you didn't have any hands on Mick Mendez.
Right.
Okay. So you really didn't have any information. So
it's just fear that like of this exact hand, like if we flat here, he probably just squeezes this ace 5.
Yeah. I like it. I'm fine with you folding there, especially with no information on Mick Mendez.
I'll tag that one. That's a simple one that I can send to Ryan and just see what he says. All right, I'm gonna skip ahead. This is a really big hand history here. We had like,
I love it. I mean, I could do this every day because
this was 600 hands is how far this tournament was.
I can I have found that like I can burn some of this stuff into my brain, and I mean, it's just some of the stuff that we've gone over in the past few weeks I've already been using.
Oh, for sure.
So
fold, limp against Mig, flop bottom pair. I think I was thinking about check raising this flop.
Must have been.
And then we missed, and then we stabbed turn. And then I guess I got tricky and decided I was going to hope he bet again.
Right.
And that did not work. So this is final two tables. Very easy defend here. You ever lead here after a check?
I lead here because I don't think they have hearts. Because I think if they had hearts, they probably, or if they had any of this range right here, I think they bet it, and then.
Yeah, I don't hate a lead here.
I mean, if we're checking, we're just giving up completely.
And this is just an awful river.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fold. That's fine. I'm still working on ranges, but man, some of the ranges I had 6 months ago, I look at now and I'm like, oof. Clear open. We get 3-bet. I legit thought about 4-bet shoving here. There were two reasons I thought about shoving here. One, this guy's 53, 40, 120 over 17 hands, which is an insanely small sample size, but that's still like really out of line. Two, he downsized. Like this is really downsized. And yes, some players downsize is like super nutted value. But it doesn't. Huh?
You ended up folding?
I think I decided to, yeah. for ICM. We were like 10 or 11 handed here. Like he shouldn't even have. I have to go to 25 to get a 3-bet. So if I go to 25, like ace 9 off is a partial 4-bet. Yeah, I think chip EV, this is definitely a jam. I just don't know whether to like.
I don't think it's a fold. Because even if you're calling right there, you're getting, what is that,
2.67 to 1. Yeah, but
3 to win.
I love jamming way better than calling.
You're winning. It's almost 4 to 1.
Like calling here, the problem with calling here is like when we flop an ace or a 9, how good do we feel? Like
I mean,
he's uncapped here, so like we don't know if he's got better aces. We don't know if he's got better overpairs.
I like the jam, but
Right.
I mean, that's me. I like the jam, but even if we're calling, we're still getting odds. You know what I mean?
It just doesn't have good playability post flop. The pot odds are there, but the playability and visibility make it really hard to like realize our equity. Like,
what do you have? Come here. What is this? Sorry.
like let's say you call here and the flop comes 9-6-3, and then he jams flop.
No. Yeah.
You just hate your life because like he's got all of his overpairs in his range.
No, I like the jam. I like the jam.
So I think jam.
We get. Honestly, I like the jam. But I think a call is fine too.
Now, but the question is over on the other table. I remember the spot. Like we had multiple. So I think we were 10 handed at this point. I think we had multiple like 10 big blinds and 8 big blind stacks.
Okay, so it's an ICM fold.
Well, I don't know. Like I don't know if we should be factoring ICM in this spot.
I want to know. Let's do we have a.
I'll tag this one as well. This will be a good one to send to Ryan.
Hold on. I can't remember.
Like my gut says that like ICM shouldn't factor in too much when we're still 10 spots because the pay jumps aren't like, they're not that great, right? It's not like you know, folding and making the final table makes us an extra $200 here. We're talking $7.22.
Let's see.
What are you guys doing here, chat? Are you guys ripping?
19.8 bigs.
Chat has gone to sleep, or they have no opinion on this.
This is a spot we need to know about. I'm gonna be honest. We've got.
Well, and again, sample size. Like, if this guy is like 11-6-2 over 150 hands, and he does this, I'm snap folding. The fact that this guy's 53-41-20 over 17 hands, which again is an absurdly small sample size, but just shows he's got, you know, he's pushing the table around. I think this is a shove. I mean, if he folds, we pick up 8 big blinds. We almost like, that's almost 50% of our stack here.
Is there not like an ice? I thought there was an ICM button on there.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. You had it there. Click the ICM thing popped up. I wish you could just.
No, it's only pre.
Right.
That's not going to tell me anything. It's just going to tell me whether I should shove or fold.
Okay.
So I think I think this is a shove. But if I thought the player was like really tight, like if he had this guy's stats 10, 6, 8 over 39, I think it's a snap fold, like just an exploitative fold. This is final two tables, Poker Dad. This is like 10 people left.
I like the shove because they're
It's 100% a chip EV shove. So then it just comes down to, do we think the villain's undersized 3-bet reps super strength? Like he's downsizing to, because he's only doing this with monsters? Or do we think that this is super weak and he's just trying to, 3-bet for cheap? That's what it comes down to.
Did
So that'll
you
be a good
mark
one to
that
send
one?
around. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'll send that one in. I will send that one in for sure. And of course, anytime you make a tight fold and get ace king the next hand, you're like, see, it was the correct decision.
Of course.
Defend here and just have to go away. Limp here and get wrecked. So here I am. I'm using this limp strategy here. Gets us to a flop. For the love of God, raise. Why am I calling in all of these spots I should be raising?
Oh my gosh.
Have to bet
Yeah,
this.
I hope you bet this.
Okay. Should have just raised flop. Yep, open, c-bet, call, and yeah.
River.
I don't know. Normally, yes. With this SPR, I think we're smarter just checking it back. Because bet folding here is really bad off this
Well,
stack
there
depth.
is no bet folding here. We just jam. We jam river.
That's really optimistic. I mean, we cover 2/3 of this guy's stack, and we're expecting him to call off with like
We
king
don't
high.
even have a pot size bet.
Huh?
We don't even have a pot size bet on the river.
Right, but this is for like 2/3, like 70% of their stack. So like, what are they calling with if we jam here? It's really thin. Like you got to hope that they have ace 4, ace 5, ace 6, or maybe king queen.
King queen, king 10.
I don't think he's ever calling with an 8. Not for 3/4 of his tournament life. On the stone bubble of an FT, it just feels too dicey.
I'm just too aggro in spots like that.
Jacks, we're getting it in all day. Run into aces, hate our life. Ripping 8s.
Yeah, we rip 8s, right? Okay.
Hit queens. Kind of wish I'd have limped there, but as is. And then again, hating life. So this is always a debate that I see people go back and forth on. What is your thought on c-betting queens and kings when there's an ace on the board?
I probably do it too much.
I hate it with kings. Like the lower the pocket pair is, the more I like it.
I don't understand that, but
So let's say that this was an ace 6 deuce flop, right? Kings to me are like a bluff catcher because like all we're gonna do is get worse to fold and better to call. Nines, right, is a different story because we can get like hands that like king queen queen jack king 10 that we give a free roll if we check back that have overs to our pair isn't good, and we also have a chance of potentially folding out some better pocket pairs. So the higher our pocket pair is, the less I like c-betting.
You like to check it back to keep in
well, but as a bluff catcher, because like if we have kings here, right? Maybe on this particular board we can get value from a jack. But I'll see people like on an ace 7 deuce board like c-betting kings, and it's like, what are you like? What's your goal? Like, are you really trying to get value from a 7 or a deuce? Like,
I'm getting value from a from anything, really.
but a lot of those hands will bet turn if you check. So you can just turn
Yeah.
your hand into a bluff catcher. And then the other thing is, like, you check, they bet turn, you call, now you get to the river and you can make an informed decision versus like
Yeah, so
betting, getting called.
we're folding to a large bet on the river, right? And that if
In
we're
that
checking
situation,
flop,
yeah.
if we're checking flop
Yeah, we
and
just check call one and then give up on river if we need to. This is a little bit different spot because the jack is there and there's also backdoor clubs and we have a backdoor straight draw. So this is interesting to me. Matt says versus
is
big
it
blind,
tough?
he's betting.
I think if we're checking, we're saying we don't have an ace and we're getting bet off of it.
Well, but devil's advocate, when he calls, he doesn't have an ace a lot of the time. Especially with how aggressive he's been. Like, what's he doing with all of his aces here when we min open? He's just ripping them.
I think it's pretty cool that we're if we're checking the flop, then we're picking up chips from people that don't have an ace.
Right. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I did here. I see this spot a lot, and I think that people get too extreme on both sides of it. But I'm literally not putting any aces in his range here. The way he's played us, I think this is a capped range on his part. And since he's capped, I'm not really worried about us being capped. But we're very disguised here if we check back. We do check back. And this is just like the weakest bet ever.
Yeah, that's a pro bet. 1 million
So I
percent.
like just calling here. There's no point to raising. Was hoping I would have absolutely called a bet. Like when he goes this small, he bets river, I'm snap calling him. I don't like this check back. We could have gone for like 1. And yeah, this is just. So we got an extra big blind out of him, Frank. Because he
Yeah,
probably would have folded flop. Good. That's a good fold.
so we're checking the queens there.
This is close again.
I would love to look this up. I think I go into preserve chip mode a lot in this spot.
So this is a partial peel, partial fold.
Right.
Again, big blind has been very passive, and both these players are losing players, so I lean towards calling.
Oh, good flop.
This is 100% a lead in my book. It's an 8 high board. Oh God, I feel like I stuffed this in here.
I was about to say, what do you do? Shove it?
I don't like. I'm gonna be gross. I'm gonna be mad if I fold. Like he can have so many draws here. He can have king queen suited, queen jacks. Like he can have all of the overs plus flush draws. And we've seen him just look like at least have the appearance of just bullying this table.
This person has 7-9.
Right, you can have 7-9 exactly. Okay, good. We did stick it in, and he had 6-4.
Nice. See,
Wow.
good play, Rob.
Yeah. So that 5x, that 5 big blind 3 bet was probably crap. Definitely defending big here. I wouldn't hate a lead here, honestly. Like we've got the gut shot. This 7 doesn't change anything for them. Like we've got some range advantage here. We don't think anybody has a jack. We could just go like 1.5 here. Made it too cheap, sir. And I like the value bet on the river. See, if he just jams that turn, he wins the pot. Yep. This must have been 8 max because we're 4-handed.
Mm-hmm.
which is
It's
not fun.
it's that late
Should be
night
raising
AMAC.
this. I don't know why I'm limping this. This is a fist pump raise. Put ICM pressure on people. Don't be a wuss. And this guy finally gives us the business, and we're like, oh, I thought I had him.
Chippy choppity.
I had 2 flush draws. He only had 1. We should have won the hand. Yeah. Now this guy's playing back at us. So I limp here. I like this adjustment after 2 GMs from him. Like the stab. Love going double barrel here. This kind of sucks. I actually think I thought about shoving this here. If this was a bigger buy-in tournament and that was a capable player, like if there was ever a hand we could jam, this would be pretty damn close. But yeah, $3 tournament. We're just folding. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Fold out, limping against this guy.
Okay.
What's up?
Did you limp the small blind with king? What was that? King deuce? No, that wasn't small. That was
No.
that.
Small blinds here.
Okay.
Bet, take it down. Fold jack 4 is good. Open the ace king. Should be betting this. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he's got range advantage, but paired board. There he just bets paired boards. That's just a mistake on our part. Limped pot. Don't go anywhere. Open. C-bet. Take it down. And 7's a fold. That's good. I don't mind folding some of this like really offsuit garbage to 2.5x's here.
Right. Okay.
This is close.
Yeah.
This is close. But I think this is probably an ICM fold in this spot.
That's what I was about to say. That's an ICM fold, right?
Yeah, because we don't want to give up half our stack here on a flip. I'm fine with that. Yeah, these are close, but I'm okay with the overfolding. Open the ace-8, take it down. YOLO. No, why did I fold? This is interesting. I wonder what the stacks were on the other table right now.
So I've seen, I saw Shondell fold this before. This is in old school me calls this every time. I did see Crazy Sixes fold this.
The ICM here calls it a fold, but this is assuming that this is a 4-handed final table. It's not factoring in the other table. It doesn't know the other table exists. Yeah, I think this is a fold, but it's close. In game, I'm pretty sure my decision here, like ICM factored in, but honestly, it's skill edge. Like I felt like I had an edge on these guys, and when we have a significant edge, I just don't want to flip here this deep. Pile the 9s.
Right.
Mixing a limp in. Take it down. Queen 5's normally an open, but again.
Am I saying Crazy Six's name right when I said Shondell?
Yeah, Shondell. That dude loves the game. You want to talk about guys with passion for the game? That guy loves the game.
I know.
Tried to limp trap with the 8s. Don't like this check. Way too many turn cards are bad for us. Should just be peeling at it. We were fortunate to take away on the turn. What happened? What the hell? Was this a 6-max tournament?
Must have been, because this is...
Jeez, I guess I didn't realize this was 6-max. Okay, well, gonna get to see some 3-handed play. I like this 3-bet a lot. Until this happens. Sounds good, Poker Dad. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, I remember this hand. Oh, I can't wait to see what Frank thinks. Okay, so this is final table.
Okay,
this is final table. My bad.
betting.
So this is final. So that ace jack was definitely a fold. All right. So final table. We don't have any ICM pressure on us. We 3-bet. This guy calls. What are you doing on this flop?
Wow. I mean, I'm betting. I mean,
How much?
I'm betting like 4 bigs.
Check what I do here.
Mm.
So I tanked in this spot. And I don't know if this is right or wrong. But here was my thought. What does his 3-bet flatting range look like?
Pocket pairs.
Well, like what?
And
Like
big cards.
he's 4-bet
Pocket pairs,
shoving.
big cards.
He's 4-bet shoving aces, right? He's 4-bet shoving kings. He's probably 4-bet
Right.
shoving queens. He's probably 4-bet shoving jacks, right?
And
So
calling like small pairs, and
he can have 8s and 7s, but not very many combos of them. He can have 6s, 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s. Okay.
Mhm.
So, and then on the ace X side, right? Like he can have some flush draws here. But he really doesn't have a lot of 8x. Right? Like he doesn't have ace 8 here. He doesn't have ace
I
7
don't know
here.
where you come up with that. I mean,
You think he's flatting a 3-bet with ace 8? Off these stacked ups at the FT? I think it's unlikely. I'm sure there are some players that would. I think population tendency. And again, this is how we get better. This may be a bad play, but like, here's how I'm constructing his range. Like, I like his 3-bet calling range is gonna be like, I don't even know if I want to give him credit for that. What am I missing? Like, maybe
the screen is too big. I have a huge screen, and I'm like having to get over here.
what does he think you are 3-betting and then shoving on this flop? Well, we could be shoving all of our overpairs. Like, if we have overpairs here, like, I don't think shoving is terrible. Because there's just so many bad turn cards, and we just want to charge all of his draws to the max. Like,
We're not shoving an 8.
that's probably the only thing we're not well, but we're still betting big with an 8. But yeah, we're probably not shoving an 8. But like, all of our overpairs probably were just ripping. Especially like overpairs like 9s and 10s and jacks that are very vulnerable. But like, my thought here was like, he can't hit this board that hard.
We're shoving ace queen, ace king.
Like
Ace
this shove does two things. One, because he doesn't have aces through jacks in his range. If we shove and he has 10s or 9s here, we're still live. Right?
Mhm.
Like, because he's capped, like I'm live here a very large percentage of the time. If he somehow wakes up with an 8 here, I'm screwed. GG's, we gave it a run.
Or 9s.
Well, if he's got 9s, we could still hit a king or a jack.
Right.
So I've got overs to what I think is his best. Like, I think his realistic best hand here, other than the rare times he has quads or a full house.
Or
I think
8.
my worst case scenario here is getting called by flush draws and getting called by 9s and 10s. I get to fold out all of his weak pairs. I get to fold out all of his non-suited Broadway calls. Like, I mean, non-flush draw Broadway calls. I get to fold out a large ass percentage of his range here.
You're stealing his ace high equities.
Yeah. And all of his 6s through deuces equities. I have no idea if this is a good play. But this is just a spot where, like, thinking about his range and how it interacts with this board, like, he just can't make loose calls here. And I just think he overfolds and it works. I don't hate going small here. Because obviously there's like a lot of turns that we can follow through on, right? We can follow through with a 9, a 10, a jack, a king, an ace, are all turn cards we can rip. But I just like, in thinking about this spot in his range, I was just like, he just has so few calls here compared to like his call. Like he's got to fold, like even properly, like he's got to fold like 80% of his range here. And if he's a weirdo and he wakes up with aces because he just flatted aces pre and trapped us in a $3 3K, then hey man, you earned the win, buddy. Congratulations, you know? I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I like it. I mean, going over it, I like it because we're stealing a lot of equity from the ace highs and stuff. And we're folding it. I mean, we're folding the ace highs. We're folding out the under pairs.
Yeah, this is final 3 action, dog. And he's got ICM pressure here too, which is the other thing. Right? Like, this is for over half his stack. Like, I think we can get him to fold A7 here.
I mean, both of these players are pretty tight players, or actually look like good players.
Like, if we can get him to fold A7 here, this is massive for us from like just a equity realization standpoint.
Yeah, we're not folding out A7.
You don't think we're folding out A7 here?
No. I don't even know if
we're uncapped. We have all of our overpairs. We have 9s, 10s, jacks, queens, kings, aces. You think he's gonna call an overbet with A7? Maybe. I mean, it's possible.
I mean, what's he playing A7 for if he's...
Well, that's the hard part. I'm never calling a 3-bet here ever.
What is he or she folding? If they're calling with A7 here, I don't think they're folding on a 7-8-8 board. If they're calling with A7.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's
I mean, it'd have to be A7 suited. I don't think he's calling with A7 offsuit. So yeah, I don't know. Weird spot.
I'm just saying we don't fold out ace. I don't think we fold out A7. But we fold out a lot of hands. Jack 10.
See, this is another spot I should be raising. We have open-ended plus backdoor flush draw. Like, put pressure on him. Because now we're just in this awkward spot. We just have to keep calling.
Right.
And we chop. We would have gotten a fold if we'd raised flop. Bet, call, take it down.
Yeah.
Raise, bet, call. Oh, this hand. So, all right. This is where so we are 9 hours into this tournament, Frank. I want you to pay attention to this hand because I want you to pay attention to this hand because this plays into the next key hand here. All right, so we open 10-7. It's a fine open from the button. He defends. We c-bet. He calls. Okay. Turns a 10. We both check. River is a deuce. We both check. Look what he floated us with on the flop. And look what he cold called from the small blind. Play back through this hand. He's got 10 deuce offsuit.
Listen, we're playing 3-handed.
Sure, but you're calling a raise from the small blind with 10 deuce off, and you're calling the 10 deuce off on this flop. So
very strange. I think I think they were floating us to take us off the hand, and they end up making a hand.
Right, but like when you see this, like if you're in a live tournament and you see a guy do this, you're very clearly thinking at this point that this guy is not good, right? Like there is some weirdness going on here. Like you said, maybe he's like trying to float and do some sort of weird steal on the turn.
100%.
Very unorthodox, very bad player. Okay. So I want you to keep that in mind.
Not necessarily.
I want you to keep that in mind and watch
Not,
this
not
hand.
necessarily. A lot of people float right there.
In
A
cash
lot.
games and live, yes. But like from a theory standpoint, we should never be flatting 10-2 from the small blind there, and we should never
Well,
be floating that flop.
of course not. But
That's really, really bad. So with that hand in mind, that hand just happened, right? I want you to think through this hand. With that hand in mind, knowing what you know about this player now, I want you to walk me through this hand. What would you do on this flop or pre-flop here?
well, raise.
Right? Okay, so we raise. He calls again. So what is his range here?
We're looking at a capable player. Okay, this player is very capable. I'm sorry, but if they're floating us on a paired board, on that last hand, they're trying to outplay us. I
Right,
mean, that's
right.
what they're
Maybe poorly, but they're trying to make moves. Right, I agree.
right,
So
right.
their range here, what? Pretty massive, right? Like he could have any two cards, basically.
Of course, yeah.
All right. So we get a raise in the two calls. We get this flop.
Mhm.
What are you doing here?
Betting.
How big?
Um, 3/4.
Okay, cool. I went 5. We go big. He calls.
Mhm.
Turn is a 9 of spades.
Right.
He checks.
Yeah.
What's your thought process here?
Check.
Okay, why?
What are they calling us with? I mean, do we bet to? I mean, they're. Do we bet to get value from a spade?
So there's a couple different thought processes here, right? Like,
We're getting check raised with uh with the ace of spades. I think.
possibly.
I I I mean, so if we bet right here and they're raising, I mean, I'm not really afraid of the raise, but if we check and then the river bricks and they bet out, then we're definitely calling to get value from somebody that's trying to bluff us with a spade. Or
Right.
miss the
Like
spade
they
draw.
can have bluffs. Like they can also just overplay Queen X here,
Because
right?
we saw this person, um, you know, try to play tricky and float
Right.
before. So I'm trying to get value from our hand on the
Right.
river.
And the other thing is like committing more chips here, not knowing if a spade's gonna hit the river is kind of dicey. Like if we check back here, like and a spade hits the river, then we can make an informed decision on the river versus like building a massive pot here, having a spade hit the river and just being in
I
an
think
awful spot.
I honestly think if a spade hits the river, if we check back here and a spade hits the river and they bet, we're still calling. I mean, unless it's a jam. I mean, I don't think I'm
So
gonna call it
I'm
jam,
with you. I like to check here. I like the check.
mm,
River is a brick.
right. Oh,
Villain checks.
I mean,
I'm just trying to get value, right?
we have to bet it, but we have to fold to a raise.
Do we? Are you folding to this?
I mean,
That's not a rhetorical question.
we we have to fold here. I mean, dude's tricky. I will say that. Very tricky. I just think we have to fold here. I mean, I hope you make the call and he was bluffing you. That's what I hope. Um, they're not. I mean, what are they shoving here with? Are they bluffing?
So I think you're right. I think we have to fold here. My question is, what is he doing here with a queen?
betting for value on the river?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, this was like 1:30 in the morning. This tournament had been going for 9 hours. I just saw this guy play 10 deuce off like it was aces. And I'm sitting here thinking like,
Okay, you're not to really. I shouldn't interrupt you. Go
no, you're
ahead.
good.
Um, what can you take from that last hand where they had 10 deuce? What did he do? What did they do on the river?
They checked back the river with third pair.
No, they checked it to you. It was the same spot. They were in the small blind. You were on the button. They checked going for the check raise, and same thing happened here. You're getting check raised, and they just shoved all in. I'm I'm almost 1,000,000%. I'm like 99.9% that you just got checked to flush right here.
Because what's interesting to me too is in my mind, when this goes check, what incentive does he have to check back value on the river? Like, if we didn't bet turn, why is he expecting us to bet river?
Well, Rosalind here is doing the exact same play that they did when they had two pair. They're they're going for a check raise. They're going to try and get paid and look crazy. That's an overbet. All right, that overbet that they did on the river is an exploitative overbet. It's it's almost common, especially people that have studied with. I mean, specifically like upswing people do this. GTO doesn't really do this. It's just an exploitative bet, honestly. And I'm just going off the 10 deuce hand. That's a minute ago. The I really think they're check shoving with the flush. So
Yeah,
um,
and this is where I struggle trying to understand other poker players, because there's no way in God's name I am checking river here with any type of value.
so
Because
they don't check raise the flop because well, they didn't check raise the last hand when they were floating. They just wanted to float. Um, I really don't think they're shoving here with anything but a flush. So maybe even a nut flush. But here's the thing: folding here and being wrong uh, costs you a lot less than calling and being wrong.
right. Like, I just get in my, like, because when he, like, if I'm in his shoes and this goes check on turn and I have value here, I'm 1,000% betting, because I'm just not going to be optimistic. Like, when we check back turn, I don't see why I would bet river. Right? Like, it's insanely optimistic to hope that we're going to check back this turn and then all of a sudden we're going to find a bet on the river. And it's also optimistic to, like, if we go check turn, okay, like, people think, well, I'm going to check raise river. And this is why I hate this play in general, because you're hoping that not only are we going to bet river after not betting turn, but you're also going to hope that we're going to call your GM. So you're hoping that we literally have a hand that can check turn, check bet, call river. Like,
So
think about how optimistic that is.
ask yourself this question: do you think do you think he or she is smart enough to realize that we have a value hand and we're going to bet the river?
No,
And
because
they
because because if he thinks we have,
and the only way they can win is to shove. Do you think that they're capable of that?
you mean like from a bluff standpoint?
Right.
I mean, I'm just being honest. When I see a player make those kind of plays, This is the way I categorize this player. This is a guy who doesn't know a lot about poker but thinks he can outplay people being crafty. This is a guy that when he decides to bluff, he's not thinking about ranges, he's not thinking about blockers. He's thinking, I got a feeling in my tummy. It might be IBS, it might be my spidey senses. You're weak. I'm betting and I'm going to take you down here. And that's the extent of
Yeah,
his bluff thought. Huh?
2004. I don't think you got it.
Yes, exactly. That's my now I might be way wrong there, Frank. That's just but when I see people bluff what I call bluff range, where they're just not factoring their cards into a bluff, I feel like they're in that mentality. So when I see a guy in that mentality, I think that they're capable of saying like they're capable of being induced, right? You bet small and they're just like, I don't think you have it here, I'm shoving. I don't think that's what's happening here. I think the problem, like I think my mistake here is I think that other players think the way I think. And so my thought process is like, why in the hell would you ever check back value? Like when you have a value hand on the turn, why wouldn't you go for value here on the river? Like, why would you ever check back a straight, a flush, like any of that stuff? I don't understand how you check and let this potentially go check on the river, because it's terrible. Like, why? Like, could you imagine if we have two pair here and he has, a queen and he just checks back and it goes check on the river and he gets no value from his straight? Like, that's really, really bad. And if he's got a straight here, he shouldn't be worried about us having a flush the way we played it. Like, why the hell would we check back a flush? So, like, I just, like, I start thinking the way other people think. I start thinking that other people think the way I think. And I make false assumptions based on that. So I'm sitting here going, why in God's, like, I'm sitting here thinking basically, if he's got a flush, he's betting river. Because this shove, like, what, like, honestly, if I have queen 8 here, am I calling? No.
Well, Rosalind is also not afraid of you having a flush.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, he's not worried about us having a flush. So, like, he can't, like, this isn't let's just say he has queen 10 of spades. Let's say he's got the straight flush.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the absolute nutter butters here, right? Like, what the hell is he hoping to get called by?
They're check shoving the river.
What are you hoping to get called by?
If Rosalind has queen 10 of spades, they're check shoving the river.
But what are you hoping to get called by? Like, what are you hoping is going to call you when you check shove the river?
Who doesn't believe that they have queen 10 of spades?
And again, that just goes back to, again, like, they're not thinking players, not on a intelligent level. I'm not saying they're idiots. I'm just saying, like, they're not thinking on a proper, like, they're not thinking about ranges. They're not thinking about what we can have here. They're not thinking about what we, because honestly, if he's got queen 10 of spades here, he should be clicking it back or going to like 12 big blinds.
So are you trying to outthink a non-thinking player?
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening here.
So then a non-thinking player is probably has a flush. I'm telling you. I mean, I hope you folded this hand. And
I mean, let me ask you this. What are you doing here? Like, if you have a flush on this, like, you're in Rosalind's seat, you have a flush. What are you doing here after a check turn?
Rosalind, I'm betting the 10 deuce on the river. That last
but I'm talking about here, like
Rosalind
here. If
Rosalind checked you a load last hand.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like,
you a load this hand too.
If you're here and you have a flush and you're in Rosalind's seat intact, you're betting, right?
If I have queen 10 spades, I'm not.
What if you have 8-7 of spades?
I'm going to tell you right now.
You're not betting this river?
Rosalind is a very capable player. Rosalind's stats are 23, 14, 9.
I'm giving zero respect to somebody that flats 10-2 from the small blind. I just can't do it. There's no rational.
I think you're not giving. I mean, because they were definitely floating you. to take you off, that they weren't playing the 10 deuce. That's what you got to understand. They're not playing 10 deuce.
Well, again, they're
They're
playing the person, not the cards. But
no, listen. They weren't playing the person either. They were playing the two kings on the board. All right. So what they were trying to do, this looks like a thinking player to me. I mean, those are pretty good stats for somebody in a $3
sure,
tournament.
sure.
Okay. So they were floating, hoping to uh, get you off your hand because they were thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to check raise the turn, and then they end up hitting two pair, and so they're like, uh, they are probably, I mean, everybody has HUDs and whatnot. They're probably looking at your 32, 23, 8 and thinking, okay, and they probably even have an aggression factor on their HUD, and so they have an idea of your aggression factor, and they're probably thinking, okay, I can check a load to this guy on the river, and
But if
I
they're
mean, I'm
capable,
just trying. I'm trying to wrap my head around what they're thinking. I
if
mean,
they're
I'm not
capable,
saying
if
that
they're
this is
capable of floating us with 10 deuce and trying to play the kings and steal from us, then
they're then they're capable
does
of
he have
checking
bluffs
us
here then?
below.
Does he have bluffs here then? If he's that capable, does he have bluffs here?
Oh yeah, I mean, they could have the queen of spades or the ace of spades. They could have ace queen with the ace of spades. So we're only calling to chop at that point. I mean, there's chop outs. There's. I just think we fold. I mean, I if you called me one, props to you. I think this is a fold.
I think it's a fold too. But I'm trying to get through. I'm trying to go through this because I want to see, like, I'm gonna get in these spots again. You're gonna get in these spots again, and like how we think about this hand matters.
And
It's
we
not just
fold.
about whether it's a fold or a call. It's like how we get to that decision matters.
Right. I just told you that's the reason I said all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah, it's
that's
it's.
why I think we fold. Honestly.
I have never understood check raising the river for value. And this is one of my big head skirgles too, and maybe you can help me with this, because Ryan's always like, a check raise on the river is almost never a bluff. And I'm just like, I can't wrap my head around the thought process of, I've got a really good hand. I think I'll check on the river, risk you checking back, hope you have a hand that you can bet, and then raise and hope that you have a hand that can also call my raise. That's a lot of shit that has to go right for your plan to be majestic. When you can just bet and get called, right? So like when people are like, I'm check raising for value here on the river, I'm like, why?
Okay, hold on.
Why?
Listen, check this out. Are you ready for
Yeah,
this?
help me figure this out, because this is a huge struggle I have.
Are you ready for this?
I'm
Okay.
ready. Blow my mind.
If you had the nuts, if you had ace whatever of spades,
Yeah.
okay, and what would be your most profitable line?
I feel like it's going to be leading over the court, like over an opponent's tire range. In my head, it's going to be leading, because the reason is, let's say I've got queen 10 of spades here, right? Anything that my opponent bets on the river, I expect to fold to a raise. I've got the board locked up. Like, what am I expecting? What am I raising that I'm like? I expect him to bet and then fold. And
Okay,
so my options
now I
are,
want you to wrap your head around something.
okay,
All right. What if your most profitable line is a check turn, check over bet shove on the river? Because guess what? You're not going to believe it. Why would somebody with the nuts check shove their entire stack against a fight, on the river? Why would they do that? If they want to get value from it, right? So what ends up happening is you are in this quandary right now. Mr. Ace Queen of Hearts is in a quandary and thinking, wait a minute, what? I have a straight. And there's no way that they're check shoving their entire stack with the nuts.
So I can
And
I
then
can
you end up,
understand
and
that
then you
thought
end up,
process,
and then you end up paying them off. If
but
you
like,
realize how much this happens, where people, I don't, in cash games, this happens where they check shove the river, and guess what? They flipped over the nuts. It's happened to me 10 years ago. I flopped a set of aces, and there were 3 spades on board. We checked it all the way to the river, and I bet, and the guy goes all in. Checked me the load. I was in position the whole time. I checked my set of aces all the way to the river. He checked his nut flush, all the way to the river, and I bet the river, and he shoved all in. Overbet. All right. The pot was like $200, and he for 1,300. And my dumbass called.
right, but that doesn't make it a good play, right? Because
It's
like
an exploitative play.
but this is like, he is like, literally, you got to think range here. This is a sub 1% outcome. 99.4% of the time here, he doesn't get this call. So
Sometimes
yes,
you gotta make the
0.5% of the time when we literally have this hand, he gets paid off. But if I have queen jack, queen 10, queen 9, king queen, queen 8, queen 7, king 10, king jack, king 9, if I have 2 pair and straight combos, I'm folding here. And if he bets 10 here, I'm calling with a lot of those hands. So he is, yes, in this exact spot, in this exact hand, he gets paid, but he is hemorrhaging money by checking here all of the times he could have bet and gotten called, and all the times we just go check.
well,
Like,
go back and look at the past hand, just like you told me, the 10 deuce hand, and think about that, and then think about this hand. It's the same play. It's almost the exact same. Check, check. And was probably gonna, I don't know. I don't
no,
know what else to
no,
say.
what I'm
That's what I
saying
get
is,
from it. I'm
yeah,
trying to, that's the only way I can understand it. I mean, turns out you're
just
not
promise
calling.
me. All I'm asking is, promise me, Frank, that you don't check jam your flushes here. You need to be leading your flushes here. Please don't check jam your flushes here, because like,
All player, no, it's all okay. So you're gonna make some money off of people, off the playing against their stacks and playing against the person, how they
yes,
play.
if you're up against somebody that you know is betting here 100% of the time, then by all means exploit them, right? But literally, when this goes check on the turn, there's no reason to expect a bet here on the river.
Okay, so
This is
but
dumb
we're
luck.
not talking about me. We're talking about Rosalind.
Sure.
Rosalind made 2 pair a minute ago and check the turn, check the
Well,
river.
he made 2 pair, but there was a paired board, so it wasn't
Oh yeah,
like,
that's right. I take that back. Yeah, let me take that back. That's right. There was already a paired board. Okay, so we debunked that myth. Um, that's the only thing I can think of.
against this guy, I probably am, Matt, because I mean, again, like, just seeing what I saw from him, and maybe 10's not the right size, but like,
Man, I guess, I mean,
oh.
I'm folding 100%.
No, this is a fold. This is a fold. You're right. Like, this is just a fold, unless we think he's spazzing off with any queen X here. And then I can argue a call. Like, if we think he's like, if he's got queen 8 here and he's doing the exact same thing, I can argue a call here. Or if
the
you,
only thing that you could really factor into making this call is that if you call this, you win the tournament. Essentially. because
Daryl's like, how long is your time bank? Oh god, that's funny. Yeah, like this is crazy to me. Like this, there's so many levels to this hand, Frank. Because like if he has bluffs here, it's hard to not call this. If he truly has a legitimate bluffing range, it's hard not to call this, especially with seeing what we've seen from him. But so few players bluff at these stakes in these spots that like it's really hard to put him on a bluffing range here. I mean, this is for virtually his tournament
very
life.
hard to put them on. I mean, if Roslyn has a bluffing range right here, then Roslyn should be playing high stakes.
Yeah. I totally agree. Yep. And that's why it's a fold. But it's so interesting. And this is where I think part of the reason I've struggled for the last couple weeks is I'm running into so many unorthodox players. Like, I think I don't know if I told you, I can't remember what I told. I had a hand the other day where there was a limper, an over limper. I had king queen suited. I ISO'd to like 6x. First limper folds, over limper calls, right? So I'm thinking capped range. He over limped and then called, passive player. Flop comes like king 8-4, king 8-3, something really dry. I bet, he calls, turns a brick. I shove. He calls and he flips over ace king. He overlimped with ace king and then he called a raise with ace king.
You haven't played enough cash.
Yeah, well, yeah, these are like live players, like, and this is why I've struggled with live in my career, because these, like, we get these guys that have this like, I just want to see a flop mentality. Like Abe Styles talked about yesterday, he was at a live tournament and the guy looked over, like there was an all in and a call, and the guy that went all in had ace king, and he said the guy next to him leaned over to him and said, I wouldn't have shoved with ace king, that's a draw in hand. Like, you know, right. Like that mentality is so foreign to me. Like, what? And so like I'm having to learn.
No, you wouldn't believe the players that limp with ace king. People that are they're winning players that limp with it, but
I have to learn some of these weird thought processes, you know? And that's where like I love your insight, because you've been around it for so long and I haven't. I'm used to the internet guy that has a membership to, you know, one of the 7 training sites out there. Thank you for the biddies, by the way, KB. My God, I'm such a terrible host. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Shout out my man. He's got the home game tonight, by the way. Make sure you guys go check out his stream tonight. The most entertaining home game on the planet. Yeah, so you want to see what he had?
Is that, did you say KB? Is that?
Yeah, Killing Bird.
Yeah, so he owns Tournament Poker Edge.
Yeah.
All right about that? Okay, so there is a guy that hosts his, he's got a podcast.
Clayton?
Comic.
Yeah.
All right, so Jenny and I were, you know, we used to go everywhere, but we were at, I'm glad he's here because I wanted to say something about this. We were at, in the Bahamas for what's that poker tournament?
PCA?
The PCA. We were there for PCA, and there's a guy that's, we got some VIP passes to go see this comedy show, and I had no idea who Clayton Comic was. And he was one of the comedians. And dude is funny.
Yeah.
I mean, he's funny. He's a funny guy. So, and I really like him. And I just wanted KB to know that he's made a great decision in having him host his podcast show.
I haven't seen KB make many missteps when it comes to marketing or business. He's pretty GTO about all that stuff. And yeah, that pod is a really good listen.
I've only listened to like 2 of their podcasts, but I do know that Clayton Comic is a good dude.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And that was a very smart move by KB.
All right.
Sorry for getting away and saying that.
No, you're good. Let's. So yeah, we made the call. What do you think he has? I know you think he has a flush. You dare to guess a combo here?
I mean, I don't know. It could be 6-8 of spades.
Pretty damn close. Pretty
See,
damn
you should listen
close.
to me more. You should listen to me more.
No way in the hell I'm checking 6 7 spades here on the river. So I gotta stop I gotta stop thinking that everybody else thinks the way I think. That's the big takeaway from the spot. Because it leads to blind spots. Like I am leading 6 7 spades here every time. I don't want a weak queen X to just check back. I don't want two pair combos to check back. I also don't think that two pair combos are gonna bet and then call my raise. Like all of his like thin value bets are just gonna fold to my raise. So I just want to set the price and get it in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
KB,
What's
says
KB saying?
he said my mental league is that I call in those spots just because when I lose I can complain about my shitty luck. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my friend Tommy says he would rather call and be wrong than to fold and be right and never
I
know.
legit thought he could just have Queen X here. And I checked back turn with the hopes that like a brick would come off and I'd get paid off by Queen X.
So she is probably has a flush like 1,000,000% of the time there.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, 99.9% of the time. Because if they're making a play like that, I mean, it's either
Yep.
bluff or value, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that's just something you got to figure out. And here's the thing: is that you can fold right there. Remember what you said earlier when you folded the ace jack off?
Yeah. Same thing.
Um,
Skill
it's
edge.
the same thing. It's like, why put all your chips in a spot where you're not really that invested?
Yeah.
The pot, winning the pot, yes, is going to give you a huge chip stack, but losing the little bit that you still had like 25 bigs, you're still in there. You're still um, just barely behind second place in chips.
I think I was really hoping that I would go runner hearts here on 6th Street and 7th Street, 7 card stud style, and just
Okay, leave the jokes to Clayton Comic.
Yeah, the 4-liner definitely sucks. And like it's frustrating because like if the turn is an 8 of spades or a 7 of spades or a 5 of spades or a deuce of spades or an ace of spades, like we probably don't pay him off. Like
Man, I hope I didn't get that mixed up. I just know we saw him at a tournament. I'm pretty sure it was at PCA. That was a very fun trip for us.
hopefully it will be back again in 2022. That was
Yeah, I was very
one that was on my
disappointed.
bucket list.
It was very disappointing when they canceled it. I think PokerStars is when they got bought out by whoever the Amaya or whoever bought them out. They just started going downhill, and everybody's left them. I mean, one of their team pros is the guy that won that No Limit Championship, who is a total douche. I don't even know his name. He doesn't speak English, so I didn't talk to him. But guy wins that tournament, dumps his girlfriend the next day. I'm not kidding. Like at the tournament, I was there, and his girlfriend, who they acted like they were really in love. Like she was all about him, and she was like, all so proud of him and so happy. Dumps her next day,
Oh my god.
and he did something else too that was really weird. I'm not gonna say it, but I was like, "What? The Poker Stars invited this guy?" they kicked, they
uh,
kicked off Moneymaker and Negranu and all these other people and David Williams, but they'll keep this dude.
yeah. All right, let's I'm going to send the raid on. I'm going to be back on here maybe in an hour or two. We're going to fire up a grind today cuz kind of have to. It's just kind of one of those things.
It's awesome.
But yeah, Frank, a pleasure as always. We'll keep doing these weekly. We do some of them on stream. We do some of them in the boot camp. The boot camp, guys, exclamation boot camp and chat has been an absolute blast. Listen, seriously, if you are wanting to get better at poker, you're looking for a group of poker players that really passionately want to grow and are pushing each other and studying.
I promise to be in there more. I have not been in
You should
there.
be.
I
There's
am
some amazing
normally at a
discussions
poker
taking place.
I am normally at a poker table somewhere with my phone, and, like, I I just need to be on my PC. Like, I can't my phone cannot watch any of the videos you guys post in there.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of tilting on that front. All right, guys.
It's crazy.
For Frank, for me, we're gonna send you guys over to bet on Drew. He's trying to get a bink. I think it's trying to get his first bink of the year here. He's at the final table of the 1652K as we speak. So send some love over there, and we will catch you guys later today on stream.
Awesome.
See
Tell
you
Drew I said I
guys.
love him.